Welcome to this incredibly special occasion. I'd like to thank you all for coming to the amazing celebration and the marriage of Bilal and Mahini. Just so you know, marriage, it's not just a word, it's a sentence. A life sentence. I'll introduce myself. My name's Rich. I've known Bilal since we were 4, actually. We went to primary school together. It's been really tough, actually, having a friend that's so good at football, so handsome, so good with the ladies, so good at dancing, but Bilal's coped very well. I've never been best man before, but Bilal said that if I do a good enough job, I could be best man at his next wedding. I'd like to thank Bilal as well for his kind words on behalf of the bridesmaids. Talking of bridesmaids, I think you'll agree they've added so much glamour to today. Of course, eclipsed by our beautiful bride, Mahini. Mahini looks like 1 in a million, don't you think? 1 in a million. Bilal looks like he was 1 in a raffle. I'd like to thank the ushers as well. They were only named ushers last night in the pub. Thanks. Considering most of you have difficulty with the alphabet and knowing your left to right, you've done well getting everyone to the ceremony. I hope everyone has enjoyed this incredible occasion so far. It's been a really emotional day for Bilal's family and Mahini's family. Even the cake is in tears. This day is all about Bilal and the love of his life. Tottenham Hotspur! Sorry, Bilal and I have known each other for a very, very long time, actually, close to 20 years. Not for much longer. We met at school, actually, we've been friends ever since. So for those of you that are just getting to know Bilal, a little word of advice: if he ever invites you around for dinner, okay, you're not going to be eating till 12 o'clock at night. Okay? I've never known someone marinate chicken as long as this. To be honest with you, my role as best man is actually going better than I thought it would. I've managed to get him to the ceremony in time. He's been punctual, which is a first for Bilal. He's looking very smart still, which is completely unheard of, to be honest. Earlier today, I asked him. I said, "You know what, Bilal? What are you looking for in marriage?" I said, "What are you looking for?" He said, "I'm looking for love, happiness, and eventually a family." I said the same thing to Mahini actually earlier as well. She said, "A toaster!" As I mentioned earlier, I've known Bilal for a couple of years, 20 odd years now. And of course, there are plenty of things I could tell you of what he got up to in his younger days. However, at the bride's request, I've been asked to keep things to a minimum and only talk about his positive attributes. So I sat there and I got my pen and paper out, and I was there for a while. I was there for about half an hour. It was nothing. There was nothing. So then I thought, I'll have a go at listing his negative attributes. So hang on 2 seconds. I've just discovered actually that Bilal's workmates have started calling him God. Apparently, if it doesn't work, it's a miracle. I've actually congratulated Bilal already today. I said, "Bilal, well done. You'll always look back on today as the happiest and best thing that you have ever done." Fitting words, I thought, for a thoroughly good stag do. Yay! Of course, marriage is a major adjustment. For example, before today, as a smart single man, Bilal had the answers for everything. And as a married man, he has the answers for nothing. But I have confidence that Bilal will make a terrific husband and will be well suited to marriage. As a lawyer, obviously learning his trade, he should be used to taking instructions from clients, so he should have no difficulty taking instructions from me. I offer the following words of wisdom for our happy groom. Firstly, set the ground rules and establish who is boss. Then, do everything she says. Married life can be compared to football, so be committed every week and make sure you score on the weekend. Remember those 3 little words. You're right, meaning. Fourth, the best way to remember your anniversary is just forget the first one. Lastly, it's important to get on with your mother-in-law. A friend of mine hasn't spoken to his mother-in-law in 2 years, not because he doesn't like her, but because he doesn't want to interrupt her. On a more serious note, Bilal has been a wonderful friend to me for the past 20 years. In our group of friends, he was always regarded as a sensible one. It's been a real honour to be chosen as one of your best men today. I think it reflects the fact that we've had some unforgettable times together. You're truly one of my best friends. I don't think I know anyone more generous in giving help, more generous in giving advice, more generous in buying drinks at the bar. We might have to rein that last one in now you're married, but not till tomorrow, so crack on. Finally, I'd like to thank you all for coming to this wonderful occasion to celebrate the wedding of Bilal and Mahini. I think you'll agree it's been an absolutely fantastic day. And it's obviously my final duty to get everyone to raise a toast to the bride and groom. The bride and groom.
One moment. I'm actually prepared, unlike Richard. Don't be fooled how big it looks. I've said that before. Right. That goes out to my girlfriend Amy.
Excuse me! I'm just filming.
Are we all ready? Alex, I'm second best man, possibly. I'd first like to echo Rich and say how beautiful Mahini looks today. And to Bilal. Wow, you really scrubbed up, mate. I barely recognise you. Me and Rich split the speeches slightly. So he would do the hardcore stand-up comedy part, and I'd take care of the anecdotes and stories. This seemed fitting, as we all know, I'm the intellectual, and Richard is a clown. My part will be a slightly different pace to Richard's. There was actually 3 best men, but there would only be 2 speeches. One of our best men seemed quite delighted to be best man, also quite horrified at the prospect of giving a speech. He was therefore bowed out of his speech to focus on other best men duties, such as getting drunk and making a fool of himself. I'm a firm believer in naming and shaming, so Patrick Davis, I'm sure we can find some kind of unpleasant task for you to do as a punishment. If anyone's got any ideas, come speak to me or Rich, we'll be happy to listen.
Show yourself.
On to the actual speech. Bilal's probably the nicest person I know. He's one of the most honest, genuine, trustworthy people I've ever come across, and it's an honour to have this opportunity to say some words on such an important day for him. Bilal, having a friend like you has made me a better person. I believe the strength of Bilal's character comes from his family. I think of them a bit like a set of Russian dolls. You have Keith, you pop him open, and then you've got a FIFA. and then Bilal, then Huna, and then Layla. In height order. This is where the official family stops and the adopted family begins. Like Patrick, Rich, Luke, Ellie, AK, etc., etc., etc. Every person who's come through your house over the past 20 years. We've always felt very welcomed at the Davis household, and many a day and night was spent playing guitar in the kitchen, watching Beavis and Butthead in the front room, and having a barbecue in the garden, all to the backdrop of Sublime. As young boys, we would affectionately refer to Bilal as B, hence the B-themed stag do, and to Afifa as Afifa 98, in reference to the popular football game FIFA 98. That shows you how far back we're going. We're talking 1998. This is before they kept records. I believe it's customary to embarrass the groom with stories of terrible things that he's got up to in his misspent youth, but I'll spare Bilal this torture and I'll simply go through a few fond memories I have of us growing up together. So I'll start. My first dinner at Bilal's house. I remember the first time I was invited round for dinner at Bilal's house. This is an important event in any young boy's life. You know you are officially friends with someone if you have dinner with their family. It's sort of like an initiation, a joining of two people. A bit like a marriage of sorts. Once this meal has taken place, the bond cannot be broken. As we all know, the only official and recognised way of ending a friendship is to delete them on Facebook. And we are still Facebook friends.
Hey.
The meal itself went without an event, with me trying to be polite and respectful, and Bilal's family in return being very welcoming and friendly. It wasn't until finishing my food that I realised there was going to be a problem. I have always been brought up to believe that a polite thing to do when eating at someone's house is to finish your food. When applied to eating at Bilal's house, this presents a sort of cultural paradox that's difficult to overcome. Arabic people are exceptional and proud hosts, and it seems that a guest that finishes their plate has not been given enough food. This creates a scenario where I would finish my plate, then Afifa would run to fill it up again. I would then try my hardest to finish my second portion, and Afifa would fill it up again. It became a Mexican standoff. Who would crack first? Oh, Alex, would you like some more? We have more. We really have more. No, I'm full. It was beautiful. The plate's full again. I would then politely force down the additional food, and this cycle would repeat until one side backs down. It's a bit like the cat toast anti-gravity device. If anybody is not familiar with the concept, I'll explain the theory. Okay, it goes as follows. Everybody knows the first two rules of physics. 1. Cats always land on their feet. 2. Toast always lands the butter side down. Knowing this, if you strap a piece of buttered toast to the back of a cat, butter side up, and throw the whole lot off the table, the device will simply hover, rotating in midair, with neither side knowing which way to land. If anybody has a cat or some bread, I recommend you go try it. It's proven, it's tested. So neither side will back down. This is essentially my first experience of eating at Bilal's house. I had at least 3 portions of the main meal and 5 servings of dessert. This is a testament to what a fantastic host Bilal and his family are, and I'm happy to say I was invited back.
Yay!
Okay, fancy dress shakes. Bilal had been invited to a fancy dress party, and if I can remember correctly, there was going to be a girl there that he quite liked. No names, Bilal, don't worry. I was to come along for moral support. Bilal informed me that we were going to go as sheikhs, complete with traditional white gown and Arabic headdress. I'm up for anything, so I was like, yeah, let's do this. There we stood in Bilal's porch, in full sheikh outfits, ready to head off to the party. I've never seen a mother so proud as a FIFA that day. She was beaming, looking at her little boy all dressed up like an Arabic sheikh. We were brought down to a crashing reality when we arrived at the party and the first person says, "Oh, have you two come as terrorists?" This could get tricky. The next person I talked to, dressing as a terrorist is a little bit un-PC, don't you think? I don't know how many times that night I had to explain we were dressed as sheikhs, not terrorists. People just didn't get it. Drunk people can be very inconsiderate sometimes. I can definitely speak from experience. I was quite offended at the time, but it's quite amusing to look back now. Despite the hiccup, with people not knowing what a sheikh is, we had an awesome night, and Bilal sadly did not get the girl. On a positive note, this left him free to meet Mahini, and look how well that turned out. I'm getting there. I printed it big because I was planning on being quite drunk. It seems at some point in every young man's life, you go through the stage of thinking, hey, dreadlocks are pretty cool. I should get some dreadlocks. Most of us do not act on this impulse. But sometimes somebody gives in and thinks, you know what? I'm going to give these dreadlocks a go. Bilal was that somebody. Bilal had grown his hair quite long to fit in with our chosen social group. We were the sort of grunger punks with long hair, ripped baggy jeans, usually dangling with some sort of chain accessory to stop our wallets from getting lost while we washed and we crowd surfed. Yeah, we were pretty cool, weren't we, Bilal? Bilal had grown his hair quite long to fit. Oh, in fact, I read that bit. One day, Bilal decided to bite the bullet and go full-on dude by getting his hair dreaded. He invited me around to help him go through the transformation process, and possibly subconsciously to persuade him not to go through with it. I was more than happy to go, watch, laugh, help, whatever. When I got there, Bilal had a tub of dread wax and some basic instructions of what to do. If you're going to do instructions, they've got to be basic. Essentially, the process involves frantically backcombing the hair as hard as possible until it's completely destroyed, then rubbing in wax to make a fluffy, clumpy mess. Before you know it, you've got totally badass dreads, and all the grunger girls have fallen at your feet. Well, that was the plan. For some reason, the more we went through this process, Bilal's hair wasn't looking badass at all. It was just looking bad. We got about halfway, and he lost his nerve, deciding that possibly dreadlocks wasn't such a great idea. We aborted the frantic backcombing, and Bilal went upstairs to wash the wax clumps out of his destroyed hair. This attempt at dreadlocks had been a resounding failure. Bilal neither had badass dreadlocks or his nice long hair from before. He was stuck in a mid-stage. When he returned downstairs, what I was presented with was a sort of half Tina Turner afro, half long-haired grunger. Bilal was mortified. I thought it was hilarious. Nothing destroys hair quite like backcombing and wax. And now to the present day. We're all grown up, so we do grown-up things, like having dinner parties. I'd like to say, nobody invites themselves round for a dinner party quite like Bilal. I'll get a call at midday, and it will say, hey Alex, do you fancy having dinner tonight? At yours? I'll cook. Yeah, alright, cool, yeah, whatever, mate, come on. I've learned that you don't turn down a meal if Bilal's cooking, because Bilal is incredible at cooking. So Bilal turned up, 2 hours later than agreed, of course, with all manner of ingredients. Some in jars, some in pots, always with at least one ingredient I've never set eyes before. Like any expert chef, regardless of what he's making, Bilal manages to use every single pan or cooking utensil in the kitchen, even a trail of food and mess across every single surface. He manages to use pans that I didn't even know I had. I don't know where he finds them. After Bilal finishes cooking, the kitchen looks like it's midway through a renovation, barely recognisable as its former self. I suppose this is a small price to pay to create such good food and company. Mahini, you're a lucky girl to bag a man who can cook so well. If you can teach him to clean as he goes along, he might be the perfect guy. And to the future. I've no doubt that we will be friends for a very long time. Oh, I'm going to get emotional here. It's just the wine. And I hope you continue to invite yourself around for more dinner parties. Although this may be more difficult because me and him are going to Australia. The doors are always open to you and your wife, Mahini. And I would like to wish you both the best as you start your new lives together. So it's now my honour to lead the second toast to the bride and groom. If you can all be outstanding.